Here we have a new 2024 Chevy Blazer. This one comes in the 3LT leather trim level in sterling gray metallic. And then we do have the jet black leather interior. For the powertrain, we get a 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. That's made it to a 9-speed automatic transmission. And this pretty much carries over from the 2023 model year. A few subtle changes, but as we come around to the front end here, we get the LED headlamps, LED daytime running lights. Love the design there. Now, as opposed to, I just did a premiere earlier. We have the chrome trim here, but all this is that hard black plastic, but it's fine. But I actually am really digging this sterling gray. Just looks super sophisticated. Down here we have 18-inch aluminum wheels. Passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. Power door lock controls here. One-touch automatic up and down for the driver's side, express down for the other 3 windows. Rear window lock there. Power mirror controls here. Power lift gate. You do get the Bose sound system. Just check that out. It's pretty good. Bottle holder storage. Headlamp controls, electronic parking brake. Press to engage, hit the brake, press it again to disengage. Pedals are there. Hood release. And then we have the manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And there's our power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar support. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. But before we check out that rear leg room, huge shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for letting me review this Blazer today. Love how this is optioned out. The sound and technology package is a must, especially on this 3LT if you want to save 10 grand as opposed to getting you a Premier, because that sticker price is only $43,485, and I think that's totally worth it. You get the V6, all of that technology there, including the adaptive cruise control. It's one of the best ways to option this thing out, I think. Only thing it's missing for me is the cooled seats, but to save $10,000, I can go without them. Here's a leg room back here. Seat back pockets are on both sides. Rear AC vents, USB-C, USB-A charge port, 120-volt 3-prong household plug-in, little storage down there. And then there's a view of the front from back here. Grab handle, we can either put 1 plastic hanger or 2 metal hangers on that hook there. I will say the other thing this is missing is a sunroof, but again, to save that money, I might just go without it. Bottle holders are there. Of course, the child lock is on. I'm glad I unlocked the windows. But to activate that, unlock, lock. Fuel filler's there. And then I actually like the designs on the lower trims. These taillights there, I just love that look there. Then we have a dual exhaust. And then another thing I noticed, opposed to the Premier, this one doesn't have the rear parking sensors. So the more I look at this, the more I'm seeing that the Premier does actually have quite a bit. And I'm only bringing that up because, again, I just reviewed that before this one because I wanted to compare. There's a spare. Pretty deep side pockets on both sides. We can manually fold the second row from back here. I'm gonna go over here to move the seat up, and we do have the power seat back and seat bottom like in the Premier that doesn't have the lumbar support. But with that scooted up, that's how that folds flat. And then you can put it back into place that way. You can also pull this lever here from up front to fold the seat back. And it also allows you to recline it a little bit so you can push, and then that's the difference with it back. Can't get all the way back. It needs some pull there, and it's hard to do with one hand, but there's about 1 or 2 different settings that you can adjust between as opposed to the standard. Put over here, side pocket, glove box button, and then there's the storage in there. Pretty good size. The owner's manuals are in there. And And then as we come back around to the front, gonna pop the hood. And there's that 3.6 liter V6. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat here. So leather wrap steering wheel. There's the horn. We don't have the heated steering wheel here. That's another thing compared to the Premier I was just in. But we do get AM, FM, XM radio along with Bluetooth audio. We also have the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. Navigation system here. Pretty easy to use. Voice recognition, you could type an address, whatever. Settings are here. And I just paired my phone. So that's how I know the wireless CarPlay is in this one, but just go to phones, add phone, find My Chevrolet in your Bluetooth. Connections there, and then pretty simple, just pair the codes and, you know, like anything else. But rear seat reminder, teen driver, etc. is in here. We have a Wi-Fi hotspot. Dual zone automatic climate controls, excuse me, that can either be controlled from the screen or the buttons and knobs down below here. And we can toggle the whole system on or off. 3-stage heated front seats. And then backup cameras there, front cameras there. We also have the curbside view, so it's nice to have that along with the 360 camera on this 3LT. Traction control, glove box button, volume knob, click there to mute, and then auto stop toggle, hazards. Then fan speed can be adjusted right there. That can sometimes be hidden. But we have a USB-C, USB-A port, wireless charging pad, and then for the shifter, pull the lever behind, reverse neutral drive in your low gear, and you can manually shift, and it'll show you what gear you're in that bottom right-hand corner of the gauge cluster, the digital gauge cluster, excuse me. And then with this one having front wheel drive, we just have the tour mode, snow mode, sport mode. And then we have the lane keep assist with lane departure warning there. Center console cubby space has the 12 volt where that green sticker is, that's covering an SD card reader. That's what your navigation gets its info from. And then you have the USB-C, USB-A charge ports in there. There's a view of the back seat from up here. And then we have a sunglasses holder, universal home remote, OnStar, rear camera mirror as part of that package I showed earlier. Now back to the steering wheel, we do get the adaptive cruise, cancel, set the speed, gap adjust for the cruise and the forward collision alert. And then we have voice recognition and mute. And then we can use, this is an enter button, by clicking that, and then we can scroll through, clicking these arrows, then this is a scroll bar within each menu. We can go through all of that. And then units can be changed there. Info page options can be changed there. So everything is pretty self-explanatory for the most part. Now behind the steering wheel on the left side, we can go through our radio station favorites or track lists. And then behind on the right side, we can toggle volume up and down. Blinkers are there. With the headlamps on, we can toggle the high beams, flash there, auto high beam toggles there. And then our windshield wiper controls, one time, off, intermittent, low, high. We can adjust the intermittent here, and then we have our rear wiper here, intermittent on, off there. Push back for the rear wiper fluid, pull up for the front wiper fluid. Push button start. Finally, here's the key fob with remote start. And next, let's go ahead and take this Blazer 3LT with leather out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Blazer, the V6, especially with this 9-speed, definitely does its thing. It's quite impressive because even though it's not turbocharged, it still pulls pretty great. But the powertrain is just super peppy. And I actually feel like this is quicker where the front end is being pulled as opposed to having the all-wheel drive system. This just feels a bit quicker to me. But in overall strong powertrain, especially to get 26 miles per gallon on the highway. The V6 is a lot quicker than you'd think, even with this heavier machine. Now, I did just drive a Premier, and I'm so glad I was able to drive this back to back with that, because the ride I thought was relatively good with the 21-inch wheels, but with these 18s, it's just almost night and day. It's so much smoother here with a thicker tire wall, the smaller wheels. Just extremely comfortable. And in terms of just the sound deadening, the sound installation overall, pretty good sound in here so far. We'll put it to the test when we get on the interstate, but right now it's pretty nice. Again, the package that comes on here, I can't remember if it was sound and technology. That's probably what it was. But I like having the navigation, having the Bose sound system, the adaptive cruise, the lane keeping system, all the stuff that I find pretty important, at least personally, this comes with, but I'm not having to pay an extra 10 grand for the top of the line trim and then still having to pay for a bunch of other things. This is equipped exactly how I would like it. And honestly, I remember what the Ford Edges were going for. This just seems like a pretty good deal just to get leather, all of these features, and then have the V6 with a 9-speed. And I like that there's not a lot of body roll there. Like, I went around that corner pretty harshly, and I didn't bounce at all. Just super impressed by that. But I think for what you get, again, this does feel like, especially since they did this screen and all of that, it's crazy how much of a difference that made, as opposed to the older ones, like the 19 through 22s. This just makes the infotainment system pop a bit more. It makes it seem a little more modern, I think. Less outdated. And then also having that rear camera mirror is a nice touch as well. I just feel like I'm in a $55,000, $60,000 interior, even though it's only a $43,000, $44,000 interior. Give it a little throttle again. And I like the shift points. I feel like it easily adapts to my throttle response or my throttle output. So when I put my foot into it, it doesn't want to shift, and then when I'm giving it just about 30% pedal, it adjusts for that. Now adaptive cruise is on now. Lane keeping system, and the lane keeping system basically pings you back and forth. So it gets the job done. It's no super cruise, so it's not going to center you in the lanes, but not a bad system. And again, this just feels so much better than the RS, and I didn't think it'd be that big of a difference, but just with these smaller wheels and tires, a much more subtle ride comfort. But we're about to have to sit here in traffic, I think, so this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Chevrolet Blazer with front wheel drive, and this is the 3LT leather trim level.